Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror thriller film, Dead and Buried. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a photographer arriving at the coast of a small town. He then practices his craft and notices an alluring woman. She approaches him, and they exchange their names rather than hormones. The woman poses for him, suddenly opens her blouse and exposes her mountains to seduce him. A mob suddenly appears and beats him. They tie him and set him aflame while photographing him. Afterward, a car wreck is found on the road. The firefighters are putting off the fire while the sheriff is communicating with their unit, asking for the mortician. Moments later, the mortician Dobbs arrives. He examines the burnt man in the car, and as Dobbs touches him, the man suddenly screams. The following day, the sheriff goes to the coffee shop and sits with his colleagues. They talk about the burnt man and ask him for some updates from the hospital, but he has no idea. Meanwhile, some drunk man tries to sail a boat. As he sits down on the boat, a camera suddenly flashes. The townsman strikes the drunk man, while the other photographs him. Later, the sheriff visits Dobbs at his office, enhancing the deceased woman. Dobbs explains what he does as a mortician and considers it as doing art. The sheriff tells him about his suspicion that the car accident was orchestrated. Suddenly, his assistant calls to report another dead body in the boatyard. So the sheriff and Dobbs rush to and check the crime scene. After that, the sheriff goes to the nearby hotel to look for some clues. He asks the staff if there is anybody who checked out without paying. The staff remembers a guy who has not checked out, but his things are in the room. Since there is no registration to identify him, the staff accompanies the sheriff upstairs to check the man's belongings. In the room, the sheriff is upset for failing to find the man's identity. Unexpectedly, the staff reveals that the sheriff's wife knows the man, which intrigues him. He says that his wife, Janet, dropped over to see the man. The sheriff goes home. Janet immediately assists him. He then asks about the guy in the hotel. Janet admits she knows the guy as the one who sells photographic equipment. The sheriff tells her it was the man who had an accident. Janet looks troubled and remembers him. So the sheriff comforts her with his bulletproof muscles, and they caress each other. Afterward, the sheriff proceeds with his investigation. He asks the school principal to confirm it, but the principal does not recognize the man. The next scene shows that the burnt man survived the car wreck, but is currently in the hospital, being monitored by the doctor. The sheriff arrives later, and the doctor explains the man's severe condition. He then asks to speak with the burnt man, but the doctor refuses and asks to speak with him outside. The sheriff is frustrated and eager to learn about the incident. Meanwhile, a nurse enters the room. It was the alluring woman earlier who posed as a nurse. She kills the burnt man by stabbing his eyes with a syringe and then hurriedly leaves. Then the alarm rings. The sheriff and the doctor are shocked and run into the room. The following day, they buried the burnt man. Dobbs arrives, disappointed for not being able to make over the man. But the sheriff is frustrated as the subsequent murders still mystify him. Later, Janet arrives home. She notices her husband is still frustrated by the murder cases. Before she leaves again, she hands him the film, saying it is her student's project, and requests to drop it off at the film shop. Meanwhile, a family arrives at the cafeteria. The father goes inside to ask for directions. Suddenly, the wife and son come in, as the boy needs to use the bathroom. When the waitress offers to use it, the son seems afraid and changes his mind. Before leaving, the wife asks for the gas station. The waitress offers the guy to guide them. Immediately, the guy stands up and leaves together with them, while the waitress and another man in the restaurant mysteriously watch them. The road is foggy and dark, which causes the father to swerve, causing them to bump into a post. Their son gets injured and cries. Suddenly, the wife sees the light, so they go to the haunted-looking house to ask for help. The wife is afraid and wants to back out, but they proceed. They open the door and inspect the house. It is dark and no one is responding. The husband convinces her to leave, but his wife insists on staying, so they check upstairs. The husband checks the basement and returns soon after. As they leave, a man suddenly appears, breaking the glass window. Shortly, the camera flashes and the mob surrounds them. They run to escape as people come one after another. They panic and run upstairs. They jump off the balcony and dash into their car as the town folks chase them. Unfortunately, the vehicle does not start. The wife panics as she sees the town folks are getting near. Suddenly, an unknown woman grabs their son from the backseat. The wife pulls the woman's hair and gets shocked that she quickly gets bald. They immediately lock the car. The wife anxiously urges the husband to go. Luckily, the car engine finally starts, and they run their smelly ass off. At the same time, the sheriff is driving on the street and accidentally collides with one of the strange folks chasing the family. He immediately checks the man and is shocked when a hand pokes him from behind. He turns around and sees a chopped arm. Suddenly, the man stands up, strikes him, and sprints. The sheriff chases the man and enters the haunted house. Something startles him, so he accidentally clicks his gun. Later, the sheriff returns home to look for bullets and accidentally finds a witchcraft book and a dagger knife, so he asks his wife. Janet said she uses it in her class, but she gets upset for interrogating her like a prime suspect and throws the bullets he needs at him. The following day, the sheriff brings the film to have it developed and warns the man not to give it to anyone. The sheriff speaks with Dobbs, who informs him that his speculation may be correct, that the burnt man could have been placed in the wrecked car to frame it as an accident. The sheriff's colleague found the family car by the beach. The sheriff scrapes some skin remains from the man's arm left on his vehicle. He takes it for further examination. Afterward, the hotel staff comes to his office anxiously and informs him that he saw the man alive, who was supposed to be dead in a car wreck. The sheriff finds it incredible. The hotel staff insists it is the same man and suggests he confirm it with his wife. Right after that, the sheriff visits his wife, who's currently teaching in her classroom. While waiting, he feels unsettled as he listens to his wife talking about the dead people returning to life and collecting people's hearts. He also finds Janet's behavior a little odd. The sheriff drives and asks Janet why the principal is unfamiliar with the man from whom she gets the photographic equipment. She gets upset, telling him it is a secret. Meanwhile, a hitchhiker stands by the road when a man stops to pick her up. He then invites her to visit the lovely little town, to which she agrees. Moments later, they arrive at the place with several boats. The man carefully gets the camera from the glove box and asks her to smile. In an instant, someone pulls her out of the car. The lady anxiously cries as she sees the town folks surrounding her, holding their own cameras. They photograph her while she screams for help. Suddenly, another man drops a huge rock on her. Afterward, the sheriff finds the lady's corpse in the middle of the road. Dobbs examines her face. He then utters to fix her and make her more beautiful. Then, he does the makeover. As he finishes the procedure, he feels satisfied with another beautiful masterpiece he has accomplished. Soon after Dobbs leaves, someone comes to the lady and slowly caresses her face as if performing magic. The lady miraculously arises. Meanwhile, the sheriff is in the laboratory talking with the doctor, who convinces him that the piece of flesh he asked to examine is from approximately 4 months' dead body. The sheriff is perplexed since he accidentally hit the man just recently. The doctor also becomes confused, so he goes to re-examine the flesh. As he seems to discover something, he immediately calls the sheriff, but he is not there. After he hangs up the telephone, a man suddenly attacks him from behind. He then sees the nurse holding the hose that contains acid. The doctor panics and screams as the nurse puts the hose in his nose and gradually liquefies his face. The strange people watch and take some pictures as he struggles to death. Soon after, the sheriff arrives at his office and is shocked to see Dobbs waiting. He reports that a thief has stolen the corpse of the dead lady. The sheriff is frustrated as it adds to his problem with the mysterious murders and his wife's strange behavior. Suddenly, Dobbs agrees that Janet has been acting bizarre lately, which intrigues the sheriff. Dobbs tells him that Janet always visits him, so the sheriff asks if he has something to do with witchcraft, which is Janet's interest. Dobbs denies it and tells him that he was slightly insulted by Janet for insinuating that he knows about black magic. The sheriff curiously asks Dobbs if he believes that dead people can return to life, and Dobbs finds it incredible. Meanwhile, the sheriff's assistant calls, informing him that she is late due to her car. So he asks her to inquire about the film he brought to the shop. Then she asks him to check the letter on his desk, which is about the burnt man. The letter reveals that the burnt man's body is transported to another facility, so he immediately goes to Dobbs' office. There, he finds Dobbs' prodigy painting his arm. He is startled by the sheriff and runs off. The sheriff becomes curious and proceeds to look for Dobbs. Later, the sheriff goes to the cemetery and asks the man to dig the burnt man's grave. Although the man refuses as it's without Dobbs' permission, he is convinced by him. The sheriff vigorously breaks the casket. Surprisingly, the corpse is not there, only some folded clothes. He unfolds it and is shocked to see an alive human heart. After that, the sheriff quickly drives to the office. But as he passes by the gas station, he stops and takes snapshots of the burnt man, who is apparently alive as the pump attendant. Moments later at the office, he grows suspicious of Dobbs, so he urges his assistant to write a request to conduct a background check on Dobbs. Then, he hands the photograph of the pump attendant and asks her to submit it to the police to check if he is the missing person. After that, the sheriff immediately takes the film to the shop. He suddenly bumps into the reanimated doctor. He then asks the doctor if he believes in the possibility of resurrecting a person after death and getting them to wander around. The doctor finds it unbelievable. So the sheriff tries to convince him that the flesh he examined was from the man he hit the night before, not from months ago. However, the doctor refuses to acknowledge it. He insists that corpses have been missing from their graves, but the doctor calmly tells him these people have not been returned to life. Suddenly, the sheriff's assistant calls him, so the sheriff dashes into the office. The assistant reads the information they received about Dobbs. He discovers that Dobbs was a former chief pathologist on another island and was dismissed due to unauthorized use of dead bodies in the county morgue. After hearing that, the sheriff immediately goes home. As he arrives, he looks for his wife, but she is not around. He picks up the video camera and plays it. The film shows a couple playing hormone hide and seek, but suddenly the woman stabs her partner in the back. Subsequently, several people come into the room. It shows the woman's face, and the sheriff gets enraged to see that it is his wife and Dobbs was filming it. The sheriff confronts Dobbs immediately. He does not deny it and plays some recordings of the killings committed by the townsfolk. He proudly reveals that they are his art, and Janet is his masterpiece, admitting that he has been performing his secret to reanimate the dead, and the people in their town are all reanimated corpses. Dobbs confesses that he gave Janet to him as a gift. She is his gem, whose capacity to live exceeds the others. The sheriff is perplexed and questions his intention. Dobbs is playing God and considers himself an artist. He uses the reanimated corpses to kill more people so he can do his craft. The sheriff gets infuriated and points the gun at him. Dobbs challenges the sheriff to kill him, saying he will not die anyway. Dobbs tries to trigger him more and introduces Janet, who suddenly shows up in his office, speaking casually to the sheriff. The sheriff gazes at his wife in bewilderment as she speaks to him blankly. Dobbs tells him she is dead, but the sheriff is in denial. Then he touches her face, and shockingly he peels off her skin. But Janet is still talking non-stop while walking toward him. He then points the gun at her and shoots her. He's frustrated as Janet keeps blabbering despite the wound, so he anxiously reshoots her twice. Just then, Janet comes to her senses. As she walks backward, she tells the sheriff she is dead and pleads to bury her. All of a sudden, Dobbs approaches him from behind, so he immediately shoots him. After that, he dashes into the cemetery and looks for Janet. He then finds her, and she pleads to bury her again. So the sheriff does as she requested, and she expresses her love to him before she's entirely suppressed. Meanwhile, Dobbs gets up and revamps himself. As the sheriff mourns, the townspeople arrive and pay their respect. He's stunned to discover that all the people he knows in the town are reanimated corpses. Afterward, he is told to be happy for his wife. Suddenly, a camera flashes at him, and the town folks take him. In the last scene, the sheriff returns to Dobbs' office. Dobbs shows him the film where Janet is stabbing him to death. The sheriff freaks out and stares at his decaying hands. Dobbs then offers to fix them, implying that the sheriff has also been a reanimated corpse from the start. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.